My girlfriend was SA'd and became pregnant. I broke up with her because she wanted to keep the baby. Really terrible situation. 2 months ago, my girlfriend was SA'd. It was done in a park. She didn't want to report it and went into a full breakdown, wouldn't speak to police, go to the hospital, etc. I couldn't force her, so I just stayed with her. She was obviously in a really terrible state since, and I've been with her, by her side, listening to her, helping her. We went to therapy, and she knows I'm there for her. She has a history of depression, and I've been really worried. Last week, we found out she was pregnant. I was abroad for 2 months before the SA on work and came back early to care for her. So the baby definitely isn't mine. She is 100% sure it's the assaulter's. So we had a discussion. She is a devout Catholic. We initially decided on an abortion, but after she spoke to her mother, she has decided to keep the baby, saying that it isn't the baby's fault. I flat out told her that I would not help raise a baby of a guy who SA'd her. She cried and begged me not to leave. I told her she is the one making the choice. Either she keeps the baby and I leave, or she aborts the baby and I stay. I would not let this go. She didn't want either of those things to happen, so I told her we were done. I feel terrible. Was I wrong? Update 1. I'll post the update first, since there has been some changes since I last posted. Then I'll respond to some general points made from the last thread and the tons of PMs I received. Yesterday, I received a call from my girlfriend. She was crying and she begged me to listen to her. I told her that I still care for her and that I'll obviously listen to what she has to say. She told me that a few days after I told her we were done, she called up her mother to talk about this. Apparently, what happened before was that she was pretty much decided on aborting, but then when she spoke to her mother told her that under no accounts should she abort, and that I was actually manipulating her to do so. Her mother went on to say that if she aborted the child, she would no longer consider my girlfriend as her daughter. After I left her, my girlfriend called her mom up to talk about what went on. My girlfriend said that she desperately wanted to abort the baby, but her mother again said that if she does so, this is the last time they will ever speak again. My girlfriend said she broke down on the phone, and her mother kept asking her what she will do. The conversation then ended when my girlfriend said she didn't know. Then she started texting. After a few hours of thinking, my girlfriend sent her mom a text saying she was going to abort. She was then blocked. My girlfriend then called me and told me everything. She will be having an abortion in 3 weeks. I discussed this with my girlfriend, and we both completely agreed that I had not manipulated her in any way, and that she appreciated that I put my foot down, because had I not, she would have had a baby who would remind her of the worst time of her life. Her words, not mine. She further went on to say that I am the best thing that has ever happened to her, and that she knew that even if she no longer had a mom, if she had me, she could get through this. At this point, I broke down. I love her so much. In truth, I probably would have gone back to her and raised the baby with her, even though I knew I'd resent it. I made the original thread to get some backing rather than anything, to see if I had made the right decision. I'm so relieved things had turned out the way they have. And also screw any mother who places religion over their own child. Friggin' lunatics. Now, to respond to some of your points from the last thread. 1. No, my girlfriend did not cheat on me. I am almost certain about this. Not only because she has the conscience of a fragile angel, but also because we both know each other's schedules really well, and we often talk to friends who can corroborate timings. Moreover, her roommate took photos of my girlfriend after she came home assaulted. It's not rough sex, as some of you jerks put it. Number 2, I don't give a rat's ass if you think abortion is a sin or the killing of a baby. Come and raise the baby, or give us money to raise the baby, or hire us a live-in maid to tend to my girlfriend's every need while she's pregnant if you're so sanctimonious. Talk the talk, then walk the walk, you wanking tit baboons. Number 3, my girlfriend was absolutely clear she wanted to raise the baby, was probably influenced by the mom. Number 4, thanks for all the people telling me I did the right thing. It was really difficult. I'm very glad it turned out the way it has though. Number 5, to the people who PM'd me, telling me I'm a monstrous baby killer, I fail to see what my hobbies have to do with this issue. Thanks, Reddit. Update number 2. I was hoping to post here again after the abortion, still scheduled for 2 weeks' time, but I thought I should provide an update on some recent events from a mother from the pits of Satan's rectum. On Saturday, I answered the door and stood face to face with two police officers. They asked me if I was who I was, and I replied I was. They then said they were looking for my girlfriend. I called her over, and the police officer said that he needs to have a word with her. The officers then split, one taking the girlfriend to the living room, we let them in, and the other took me into my bedroom. The officer who took me started asking me questions about how long my girlfriend had been here, if she had contact with anyone else, if she had left the house at all, and a few other questions. I answered and then asked what this was about, but the officer just said they received a report to check in on my girlfriend. I asked who reported it, and the officer said he couldn't say. After a while, the other officer was done and they both left. The moment they left, my girlfriend told me that she was outrightly asked if she was in danger and if I had been hurting her. She was also asked if she was being held against her will. She said no to everything, of course. She said that the police received a call from her mother saying she might be in danger and that I could be abusive to her. I was freaking livid. I immediately said I was going to press charges against her. For what? I don't know, harassment probably. My girlfriend begged me not to and said that it would all just blow over and that she just needs time to calm down. What the hell? She sent police to my house to get me arrested. How is that sane thinking? I could lose my job if I was arrested and charged. What the hell is she thinking? I told my girlfriend that if the mother does anything like this again, I will definitely press charges. So the girlfriend decides on Sunday to talk to the mom to not do anything like this again. They had a conversation for about 2 minutes. Then I start hearing sobs. Immediately, I walked into the room, saw my girlfriend was crying, still holding the phone against her ear. I plucked the phone from her hand and held her for a bit as I heard hello from the phone. Then I put it on me and said, "You're a disgrace of a mother," and hung up. Then I held the girlfriend for what felt like an hour before we started talking. Apparently, the mother was telling my girlfriend how if she continues with the abortion, she will never see her again, or her brother, or her deceased father, who is in heaven even though he died a drunk, violent alcoholic who beat the girlfriend. But hey, repent your sins at death, am I right? And that my girlfriend would be going to damnation. I told my girlfriend that if she was going to hell, then she should save me a seat, and we'd be nice and toasty together. I love her smile. So, what do you think, if anything, should I do about the mother? No doubt my words to her will have some reactions. Here are some further responses from OP. 1. Abortion was never an option. Girlfriend was adamant she wanted to raise the baby, influenced by her mother. And if you suggest adoption anyway, then you truly do not understand just how taxing a normal pregnancy is, let alone one dipped in a beautiful cocktail of essay depression. Number 2, you can believe my girlfriend cheated on me if that makes you feel better about your lives, I suppose. And just FYI, the pictures and roommate's report showed that she had a bloodied nose, black eyes, cuts and bruises against her arms, hands and knees, a torn coat and top, bruises around her neck. So, cheating, right? And edit 3. My girlfriend and I are still going to therapy about all of this. Update number 3. I just wanted to update folks on this whole saga. This will be my final update. A few days ago, the abortion was carried out. During the weeks beforehand, my girlfriend went to a counselor and talked to a nurse about why she wanted an abortion. She was also tested for any STIs. She's clear. She went ahead with the abortion after getting the all clear. A few days ago, it was successfully carried out. They went for the surgical abortion method, which involved using a vacuum to suck the pregnancy out. Girlfriend said it was pretty painless, and she was able to return home after just a few hours. When she came home, she cried and cried and cried. She says she feels like a huge weight had been lifted and she could finally look to moving on with her life. We took the whole week off work, and yesterday we went camping. It rained. While in the tent, she talked about how difficult life was sometimes, but she was really glad things turned out the way they did. Because even though things were bad, she came out the other side, probably stronger than before. She's amazing, man. Seriously. And update on the mom. So, my girlfriend received a call from her mom who was asking if she went through with the abortion. My girlfriend and I have an agreement that if mom calls, either hang up or give it to me. In this instance, she answered, didn't know what to say, and gave it to me. I told the mom that the abortion went perfectly and smiled as she cursed at me for about a minute. I then said, "How Jesus of you," at which point she hung up. My girlfriend didn't find it funny. But anyway, that's it. Good luck to everyone in their lives. And also, if you're going to message and insult me via PM, just be warned, I've killed a baby before. This guy has to be Irish, right? I'm reading the text. He said arse, not ass. Arse. A-R-S-E. And also, I have a bit of a dark sense of humor. So oh, that's really messed up. Oh, wow. That's horrible. Okay, next story. Story number 2. My soon-to-be ex-husband humiliated me on our wedding day and met his karma instantly. I had already been with him for 4 years, 1 year of which I was engaged. It all started a few months earlier when I noticed my husband, Jake, watching prank videos. Amongst other things, these videos showed embarrassing photos of the bride being played on a projector in front of the whole room or the bride's face being smashed into the cake. I told him straight up that I didn't want anything like that at our wedding. He just laughed and said that he wasn't planning anything like that. I thought that was the end of it, but I kept catching him making strange arrangements with his friends. He suddenly wanted to choose the wedding photographer and the cake. I thought nothing of it and was just glad that he was helping me with the wedding preparations. Nevertheless, I reminded him the day before that if he did something like that, I would break up with him immediately. When the day of the wedding came, everything went smoothly until the ceremony. Until the moment came when the cake was to be cut. The whole room watched as I made the first cut and the photographer stood in front of us with a camera in hand. Suddenly, I felt a hand on the back of my head pushing me face first into the cake. Not only my makeup, but the whole wedding dress was ruined, and the whole room laughed. My husband, the loudest. At that moment, the photographer took the photo and Jake said that this was now our wedding photo. I turned around, slapped him in the face, and ran out of the room in tears. Thank God, karma didn't take long to arrive and came in the form of his own brother. I ran to the toilet and started crying when I suddenly heard out loud shouting from the hall. It was his brother Frank. I could barely understand what he was saying, and when I left the toilet, he was there waiting for me. He told me that Jake had something to tell me. Jake was shaking and apologized without even looking me in the eye. Frank told him then to look me in the eye and apologize again. Even I was a bit scared of Frank at that moment because I had always thought of him as a kind and gentle man. I had never seen him angry before. Jake apologized again, and then Frank led us back into the hall, which was suddenly very quiet, and most of our families looked down at the floor, a little embarrassed. The festivities were cut short, and I was taken home by Frank because I was too angry with my husband and didn't want to see him. During the ride, Frank apologized for blowing up like that. He explained that my husband was horrible even back when he was a brother and used every special occasion to humiliate Frank. When it was Frank's birthday, my husband would throw his cake at him and break his presents. But back then, their parents always brushed it all off by saying that that's just how brothers behave. So, he had to endure every humiliation, but when he saw my husband bury my face in the cake, he was fed up because he realized that my husband was just a bad person who got his satisfaction from humiliating others. I asked Frank if he thought it would be an exaggeration if I separated from my husband, and he said no, because according to him, I deserved better, and he didn't care how his brother felt about it because he had brought it on himself. Then he told me that if I needed help collecting my things, he would help me and give me his number. And I decided to separate from him and file for divorce and informed Jake and my family about it. Jake just told me not to do that because it was just a harmless prank. I was spammed by both his family and mine that it would be ridiculous to end our marriage over this, but I see it differently. If he does something like this to me despite multiple requests not to do it, even after promising me he wouldn't do it, then I can't trust him, no matter what he promises me. I have to assume that the opposite can and will happen. And that he doesn't care at all how I feel about his decisions. This situation can be projected onto so many much more worse situations where it would be important for me to be able to trust him. His brother Frank seems to be the only person who supports me now, and I will go through with the divorce. Call me humorless, call me what you want, but I have given my reasons. So, and I'm not joking here, when I read the name Frank, I knew something was going down. I don't know what it is, but Franks get stuff done. Whether that's a good Frank or an evil Frank, they do stuff, and this guy is no exception. As for the husband, or former husband, yeah, he got what he deserved. You can have a sense of humor, you can joke around with your partner, but if they say 3-4 times, hey, don't do this, you should probably not do it. But what do I know? I'm just a voice on the internet. Next story. Story number 3. The fact that I wasted 7 years of my life just hit me like a brick to the face. I, 28F, have been dating my boyfriend, 30M, since we were 21 and 23 at the time, so it's been a long time. He was my first everything, and I do think I have that thing where a virgin is attached to her first sexual partner a little bit more. Over the years, we've had our good times and our bad times like any couple, but one thing that people always told me is that I've become a shell of a human since moving in with him 4 years ago. But I never saw it until today. He screamed at me, fully blown screamed at me when I let out a high-pitched yelp when I got excited over something very special that I've been waiting for, telling me off, saying I'm childish. I used to sing a lot. Mind you, I'm off-key like most people, and I never belted out the songs just singing to myself while doing housework. I don't do that anymore, because every time he hears me, he reminds me how horrible I sound to him. I used to make this sound like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, always just for kids when they were sad and needed cheering up. I'd sing them a rhyme and then do that sound, and they'll laugh and try to copy me. One time I did it for his sister's kid, and the kid laughed. But then my boyfriend stepped in and told me I sound stupid singing and doing the rhyme and I should stop. The kid looked at him and then at me and told me I was stupid too. That broke me inside. But tonight, after he screamed at me, I just stared at him. I felt so hollow inside after that. I didn't know what to do. I actually stood in front of the mirror for 10 minutes trying to recognize the girl in the mirror, but I didn't. My eyes are dead, my skin is ugly, I used to have this glowing, beautiful skin, and now my hair is a mess, and I just don't feel anything. Every time I show some sort of happy emotion, my boyfriend finds a way to crap on how I get excited. I've started to go sit in my car sometimes and freak out about a few things just so he won't see or hear me. And it wasn't until tonight, for some reason, I realized just how empty of a human I really am when I'm with him. So, I haven't said it in a few days, but we need an update to this one. I am so glad that she is now realizing that she is in an abusive relationship. She doesn't make mention if she has anyone in her life, whether that be friends or family, siblings, that can help her get out of this situation. It's, as she mentioned, people have told her that she's become a shell of the person that she used to be. So maybe those people are still in her life. We don't know because we don't have the details. So, I can only hope the best for her and hope that we get an update. Next story. Story number 4. The guilt is eating me alive, but I know we have no choice. The date on which we have to give our daughter up as a ward of the state is fast approaching. This is a decision recommended by every mental health professional, social worker, and lawyer that we have talked to in the last year, but I still feel guilty. Her mental health conditions have escalated to the point where we can no longer care for her, even with a nurse doing regular home visits. Her anorexia is so severe that even after 2 residential treatment programs, every day is a fight to make her eat just 1,200 calories. She has had to be force-fed by doctors to keep her alive, and we are not equipped to force-feed her if she needs it. But she is starting to refuse to go to hospitals now and fights us when we try to bring her due to trauma she has suffered in hospitals. We have had to call the police on her just to save her life. She often refuses her antipsychotic medication because it makes her gain weight. Even medicated, her psychosis is not under control, and her younger siblings have PTSD symptoms from her psychotic episodes, which have been occasionally violent. She also has regular episodes of rage and can become destructive. She requires almost constant supervision to prevent self-harm and weight loss activities. I've had to leave my career to supervise her. We use respite care whenever we can, but it isn't enough. We are all tired and at the end of our rope, but I still feel guilty. She has reactive attachment disorder and has never formed an attachment to any member of the family. In fact, she has said that once we give her up, she has no interest in seeing any of us again. She has said that she doesn't care if we give her up, because being miserable at home is no different from being miserable in foster care. But I still feel guilty. This is the only way to get her the care she needs and keep my other children safe, but I still feel guilty. I don't know that I'll ever be able to forgive myself for this. Alright, I see how it is. I always try to end these videos on a positive note with the commentary. I don't know how to do it for this one. They could have gave me the story in the middle or at the start, but no, they wanted me to read this to you guys at the end. But on a serious note, How can you not feel guilty? That's your child, and you're essentially giving her away, even though that is for her betterment. But again, how can you not feel guilty? You're losing your child. You've tried everything. You left your career, but now the other kids are in jeopardy, and it's a terrible situation. There's really no way to resolve these type of scenarios where everybody ends up with a smile on their face. It's just a case of what can you do that you think is the best? What can you do that hurts the least? But I will leave you with some positivity. 1, I like your shirt that you're wearing. It's very nice. 2, drink more water. And I hope you all are having a good day and hopefully enjoyed the video. Feel free to read some comments. Maybe make some comments. I don't know. I love your face. Okay, I'm done. Bye-bye.